part of your vast experience, that too in a very nice and jovial way.
Thank you, Dr. Ramya.
Nice to hear you. Yeah. Thanks
a lot.
Thank you, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So bye-bye, sir.
Thank you.
So yeah, I now request Dr. Ramya. So can you please introduce about Professor A.N. Vaidya from Navy? Sir, good morning. So Professor Vaidya.
Professor Vaidya, we may request you to start your video. Sir.
Yeah, okay.
I joined RAW.
Yes, okay, sir.
Yes, we have.
Ramya, please.
Yes. So thank you, Professor Vaidya, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So unfortunately, we could not hear you yesterday, but even after having a lot of commitments, thanks that you could join us today to deliver your expert lecture. So as a formality, let me just introduce you to the participants here.
Sure.
So Professor Vaidya, he is a professor, head and chief scientist at National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, NEERI, Nagpur. Dr. Vaidya is associated with CSIR NEERI since 1987, started his career as senior research fellow and have 34 years of research experience. Dr. Vaidya received PhD in chemical engineering from RTM Nagpur University, and he received BE in chemical engineering from Lakshmi Narayan Institute of Technology, Nagpur, India, and MTech in chemical engineering from IIT Bombay. Dr. Vaidya's research interests include municipal solid waste management, biomedical waste management, hazardous waste containment, waste minimization, mercury waste management, remediation of contaminated sites, MSW landfills and common hazardous waste treatment, storage and disposal, that is TSDA facilities. Dr. Vaidya has supervised 9 doctoral dissertations, and he is also author of 41 journal papers with its index of 13 and number of citations over 7 to 8. He is an active member of several national and international committees. He is also a member of the Board of Studies in RTM Nagpur University, SGP Amravati, and VNIT Nagpur. Dr. Vaidya has delivered several lectures in different countries like Sri Lanka, Japan, Switzerland, Canada, etc. Now I would request Dr. Vaidya to take over and deliver his session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramya, for nicely introducing again, and Dr. Rao, thanks again. And at the outset, I would like to thank organizers, Dr. Rao in specific, to having me allowed to adjust my timing. Otherwise, I had committed for yesterday's lecture. But then there were certain issues, some meetings had propped up, some urgent meetings. Even today also we have some meetings. But I saw to it that today at least I will give this lecture. I try to finish as quickly as possible. And then, but thanks again for accommodating my request at the 11th hour. So I'll share.
Thank you, sir. We can understand, and glad that you are here.
So I will just share my presentation, which is in PDF. I'm sorry I could not get into PowerPoint mode because of some issues with our system. Anyway, no issues. The content is same. So I'll share my screen. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So just let me know, because this is not a routine kind of PowerPoint. So I may also be having some flaws in moving this. So please let me know without any hesitation whether I am full screen or not. Is the size is okay, or should I get into larger size?
No, sir. This is fine.
This is fine.
This is okay, or getting out?
No, a little bit Zoom out, sir. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
this is okay. Fine,
Yeah,
fine.
this is-
So the topic is basically secured landfill for hazardous waste. So will you please excuse me for 2-3 minutes? I have some few signs to be done. Please excuse me for 2 minutes just.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, okay, no.
Yeah. Sorry, Al. So just bear with us for another 2 minutes. So then he is going to join.
Professor Vaidya, you are muted.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So topic is related to secured landfill for hazardous waste, not for municipal solid waste, hazardous waste. And what are the criteria, how it is designed, and how you go about the audit of this typical landfill. So this is the brief outline of the presentation. What is the SLF, secured landfill? What are the applicable regulations and guidelines? The suitability of waste for secured landfill, design of SLF, construction and operation of SLF, and then inspection, monitoring, record keeping. So I tried to cover all these things in brief. So secured landfill is basically, this is strictly for hazardous waste. Hazardous waste is basically a waste which is generated by industry most of the times, and which as per the regulation, it is categorized as hazardous waste. You cannot say anything, any waste as a hazardous waste or non-hazardous waste. There is a criteria in regulation which has to be fulfilled to constitute one waste as hazardous or not. And hazardous waste is normally, there are two ways to dispose hazardous waste, that will come to that later on, depending on the rules and regulation. It can be incinerated or it has to be landfill. And the secured landfill facility is for the hazardous waste, industrial hazardous waste, which cannot be incinerated. So secured SLF is defined as that system which is designed and constructed to contain the hazardous wastes infinitely, so as to minimize release of contaminants to the environment. This is, in short, you are disposing hazardous waste in such a way that its all ties with the environment are cut off. It's a kind of tomb, you can say, or graveyard for hazardous waste, so that it doesn't impact environment directly. And SLF are used only after every effort has been made to reuse and recycle. See, the question, the hierarchy of waste management starts with waste minimization and finally to disposal. So if your all attempts for reuse, recycle are not economically or technically feasible, Finally, you have to go for secured landfill. That is the last option of waste management. Okay. Again, hold on for a while. Sorry for the interruption. There are certain official procedures I had to be involved in, and there are some urgent works from our stores and purchase. So I beg your pardon for this short leave and short break in the presentation. So let us go through the. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. So basically, hazardous waste is actually there are regulations for hazardous waste, and when you are designing anything for say secured landfill or incineration system or any facility per se, you must know the existing regulations. One has to be very thorough with the regulations, and the existing regulations for hazardous waste management are regulations issued by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. That is in 2016, shortly defined as hazardous waste management rules. And it specifies all the roles of responsibility, occupier, generator of hazardous waste, treatment, storage, disposal. Everything has been given in the rules. So even if you go through the rules, you will understand the basics of hazardous waste management. And then about the hazardous waste landfill sites, there is a criteria for hazardous waste landfill that is by Central Pollution Control Board, which was released in 2001. It provides specific criteria for site selection. It includes site investigation, design, operation, maintenance. Everything has been given in this manual. All these manuals are available with CPCB website or on very payment of very small thing, 40-50 rupees, very meager amounts you have to pay, but they are available with Central Pollution Control Board. Like for manual for design and construction and quality control of liners, covers of hazardous waste landfills, everything is specified, standardized, and it is available on CPCB. You can go through that, and it gives in details guidelines for proper functioning and upkeep of disposal sites. That is also available on CPCB website. You can purchase it at a very nominal cost. Now, as I told you, there is a regulation for hazardous waste. What it says, number one is that hazardous waste which cannot be reused, it has to be landfilled. If the calorific value of hazardous waste is less than 2500 kilocalories per kg, in that case, hazardous waste is to be landfilled. You cannot incinerate this kind of hazardous waste, which is having calorific value less than 2500 kilocalories per kg. If it is more than that, then you have to compulsorily go for incineration. That is the only, there are only two ways of disposal prescribed in regulation. One is incineration, one is landfilling. And then liquid hazardous waste, slurry type of hazardous waste, sludge containing free liquid are not suitable for landfilling. you have to make it suitable for landfilling. As it is, you cannot put liquid hazardous waste or slurry into landfills. Municipal solid waste is ruled out for secured landfill. It is only meant for industrial hazardous waste. Radioactive waste, anyway, it has always a separate guidelines which are only dealt with by Bhabha Atomic or Department of Atomic Energy. Even we are not allowed to design anything or handle radioactive waste. Biomedical wastes are also not prescribed for secured landfill. Now, what is the design of SLF? Now, you have to clearly understand secured landfill. There is a actual civil construction, how liners are to be placed, all those things are there. But basically, where? The question is where the landfill itself should be located. And landfill cannot be located at any location. You have to have a detailed study of that area where landfill is to be located, preferably hydrogeological study, preferably all the details in and around that particular select or proposed area. And for example, it has to follow minimum distance from any lake or pond. It should be away from any pond for at least 200 m. Just a minute. 169311 169311 11 हाँ 169311 OTP ठीक है. हाँ lake or pond minimum 200 meters. You cannot have anything within the radius of 200 meters. Then any river, flowing river, has to be minimum 100 meters away. Floodplain. Now river means floodplain. River is not the center of the river. Minimum distance from a maximum floodplain area should be 100 meters. That is the interpretation. And floodplain is decided on the 100-year data. You cannot have last year or the 100 years maximum floodplain you have to, and for every river that data is available. No national highway or state highway should be near the landfill, at least not within a distance of 500 meters. Habitation, public park, again, there should not be anything within 500 meters. Water supply well, any water supply well should not be, there should not be any fresh water supply well or a public community well within the radius of 500 meters. Groundwater table, maximum groundwater table in monsoon should be minimum 2 meters below the bottommost area of proposed bottommost area of the landfill. So it should be minimum 2 meters. And outside critical areas like airports, CRZ, wetlands, reserve forests, these are to be avoided. Even some monuments like Taj Mahal monument or some old forts, they cannot be in the near vicinity of the proposed landfill. These are the basic site selection criteria. Now you understand how difficult it is to get such a land, number one. This is, but anyway, this is the criteria which is based on the environmental considerations. And if it is absolutely essential to site SLF within the restricted zone, then appropriate design measures are to be taken prior permission from SPCP. Now, there are situations where you have to have a landfill within the restricted area. In that case, your landfill design becomes very rigorous and very robust and costly. And plus, you have to take care of all precautions in your design so that with the prior permission of State Pollution Control Board, so that you can have. This is specifically allowed for some industries where there is no landfill available nearby. And then you have to go for environmental impact assessment studies for the proposed landfill site. And you have to get environmental clearance from the state appraisal committee most of the times. And then probably this is not applicable for the sites located within notified industrial area. Now, every state, every area has certain notified industrial areas. If proposed landfill is within that area, then probably you get rid of all these requirements. So these are the investigations which are required for the design of SLF. So you need to have topographic survey, subsoil investigation, hydrogeological investigation, geological and seismic investigation. So everything you can see practically you have to go for all on ground and underground surveys for this particular design of the landfill, because we are dealing with this hazardous waste and you are going to put it there for long term, probably infinite period, although we say 30-50 years, but that may not be enough. So a design of secured landfill, design life of secured landfill will be, active period will be 10 to 25 years depending on waste generation and availability of area. Closure and post closure period 30 years after active period. So you can say it's a total plan of 50-55 years, probably more than that. So active life and then post closure measures and monitoring is required. That is minimum for 30 years. Then this is the first criteria based on which your design is based. Then waste volume. See, waste volume is important as well as waste quantity, means in terms of mass or weight you can say, but volume is also important because you are going to put it in a restricted volume of landfill. Basically it's volume. Weight, anyway weight criteria is not there, it's a basically volume criteria most of the times. Then configuration of SLF is to be decided on the basis of topography, depth of groundwater table, other site specific factors. Just a minute, hold on, I am getting one call. Hello. हाँ विजय बोलो. बोल. हाँ हाँ हाँ, that is good. That is good. तेरे को if you want गेस्ट हाउस मैं देखता हूँ अरेंज कर सकता हूँ. हेलो, नीरी गेस्ट हाउस आना चाहता है, नीरी गेस्ट हाउस आना चाहे तो आई विल ट्राई टू अरेंज. मैं देखता हूँ, कोशिश करता हूँ. कब तक पहुंच रहा है तू? ओके, हाँ ठीक है, मैं तेरे को फोन करता हूँ. हाँ अदरवाइज ठीक है. ओके 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 ओके, बाय बाय. Then configuration of SLF will depend on topography, depth of groundwater table, other site specific factors. See, if groundwater table is unavoidable because there are certain areas where there is high monsoon, then groundwater is very high. In that case, you have to, you can avoid that. Means you can still have secured landfill there, but it should be above ground. Then minimum 2 meter criteria has to be met with. So the configuration of SLF, whether it is half below, half above, or totally above, or even raised on pillars. See, if you want to invest, you can do anything, but then it cost and the stability requirements are to be met with. So then area requirement will depend on waste volume. Most of the volume of liner, drainage and cover materials, and height of landfill. To what extent you can put waste into that? Now this is a question which is to be answered. So it will depend on whether the landfill is above ground or below ground, and the slope of the landfill and stability of the slope. You cannot have vertical landfill unless it is a concrete supported. Otherwise, normally it is a kind of pyramid. It is a kind of you can say standard grave or standard tomb like design. And the side slopes, there are criteria given by 2:1 or something like that. And the stability of the slope becomes important to decide what is the maximum height of the landfill. And then the waste compatibility, support facilities, access road, security office, and the additional requirements in case of future or in case of some anomalies in your design or some shortcomings in your design, right? So this is a typical layout for secured landfill. You can see here. So there can be landfill unit 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally they are putting their adjacent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. And there are all other things you can say. There will be a laboratory nearby because you have to analyze the waste before putting it. Then you need a storage, you need a mobile site office, you need a web bridge, you need reception security. So whether it is a landfill or incineration, it becomes a kind of small industry in itself. I am talking of a common landfill site. There are two types of landfills. One is captive landfill, where I am, as an industry, I am putting only my waste there. Still, I need all these facilities, but part of the industrial facilities can be used for that. And there are common landfill sites, because those industries which cannot afford hazardous waste management of their own, on payment basis, they send their hazardous waste to these common facilities, and then common facility is like an industry in itself. So you will find that all the basic, it's a kind of industrial layout. You can go through that, and this is a typical design of the landfill. So it is a below ground landfill, figure A. Figure B is above ground. You can see the side slopes and cover at the end of this. And there can be sloping landfills also, because there are certain terrains where this kind of landfill is required. Then essential components of landfill. There has to be a liner system at the base and sides of the secured landfill. It can be a single, double composite layer basis. Leachate collection and removal system is must. Prevents migration. What is the objective of landfill? It prevents the migration of leachate to the surrounding soil. Obviously, this is normally recommended is HDPE liner, minimum 2 mm thickness. That is the minimum. You can, if you have money, you can have 2.53 like that, no issues. But it cannot be less than 2 mm. And it is a HDPE liner at the bottom, on the sides. And then you have to fill the landfill with waste, and finally final cover at the top of the, once the life of or active life of the landfill is over, you don't have any more space to accommodate waste there, then it has to be properly covered. There is a procedure given for the secured landfill covering. So single composite liner is there, drainage layer is there, vegetative soil cover on the top of that, and then it looks like a recreated facility, but below which you have a lot of hazardous waste filled in. And then because there will be monsoon, there will be rains on that, the surface water drainage system is must, which in any case you should not allow surface water or rainwater to get into the landfill. It has to be collected over the top of the landfill and properly segregated, separated. And essential part of landfill is that in around the landfill, you must have monitoring wells drilled specifically to monitor whether landfill is intact or not, because there can be 2-3 times of monitoring well, but the analysis of monitoring well water can fits 475867. So monitoring wells, basically you drill at a given distance in around the landfills, so that if landfill is broken or HDP liner is broken, obviously there will be some leachate or some content or something flowing to the groundwater, and that will be reflected immediately in the monitoring well. So monitoring wells are to be used continuously during the operation as well as after the operations are over. So monitoring well is an essential part of landfill design. You cannot imagine a landfill without monitoring well. Otherwise, that cannot be. Then you have to drill another well for that. Now this is a typical design of SLF essential components. This you will find in any book, CPCB guidelines or any internet. So there will be a primary leachate collection. Now you can see it's a double liner system. So primary liner and secondary liner. And then there is a secondary leak detection. Secondary well is there, leachate collection. If you find anything in this, that means there is something broken here. Because nothing is supposed to, no water or no liquid is supposed to be collected in this area below the between the secondary and below the secondary liner. And if you get something here, that means primary and secondary both are broken. So you can have this kind of 2-3 leachate systems. So primary leachate system is a general leachate which is collected from waste, and that has to be treated separately. But secondary leachate should not be there. Otherwise, it indicates there is some flaw in the design or some you can say breach in the landfill design. And then you can have geomembrane, you can have soil cover. These are all things are different. There is basically you have to prepare a ground, then you have to lay you can say HDP liner, then again you have to put drainage layer and then soil cover, and then every time there is a standard procedure given in all manuals, you can say. And these are groundwater monitoring wells you can see around. These monitoring wells will indicate the quality of this, will indicate whether landfills have broken and they are contaminating this subsurface water or soil. This is for that. Then liner system, there can be a single composite liner system when depth of groundwater is more than 6 meters from ground level below. So when depth of groundwater is more than 6, you can have single composite liner system. And double liner, high rainfall area, high permeability local soil, depth of groundwater is within 2 meters or 6 meters. Then you probably you should have double composite liner system, so that you doubly ensure that there is no breakage or it takes the load of heavy rains in that area. And you have to ensure adequate structural stability at the base of the sides of the landfill. This is a typical civil engineering problem. It's a pyramid-like structure. So all cross sections are like trapezium, and you have to take adequate structural stability issues. We probably a good institutions can work out that. So cross section of a single double system, this is available. You can see this is a cross section. If I cut landfill say vertically from center, something it will look like this. So leachate collection, hazardous waste will be on the top, then leachate collection system, then compacted clay and subsoil, and single composite or double composite liner. So this standard design you can see most of the places. And then final cover, when the landfill active life of landfill is over and you have to cover it finally. So there are procedure laid down by CPCB on this. So regulatory layer of 30 centimeter, then sand, then single composite liner consisting of 60 centimeter compacted clay, 1.5 mm for here you can have 1.5 mm HDP liner, drainage layer of thickness 30 centimeters. This is for surface rainwater, surface soil layer, adequate structural stability, obviously this comes there, and adequate side slopes to prevent failure and facilitate. Now we have seen certain landfills which basically collapsed because these side slopes were not stabilized or they were not within the standard limits. Very kind of vertical things, and then they were kind of earthen slopes, not concrete supported. So there were collapses like that. And this is a typical cross section of SLF cover. You can see now hazardous waste is at bottom. Then on the top of hazardous waste, there is a regulatory, then compacted clay, then drainage layer and topsoil. And finally, you can put vegetation, and then it looks like a garden. It looks like a beautiful garden. If you go to certain facilities which are already covered, end of the life landfills, you can even have some picnic. If they are very secured, it looks very nice. If somebody has done a good job on that. So these are the basic civil engineering details of the typical cross section of landfill. I will not get into that. Surface water drainage system. Surface water drainage system is must for landfill, because in monsoon time you cannot operate landfills, and rainwater will be definitely falling on the landfill area. So you must have proper covering that time and the proper facilities to cover the surface water runoff, and that should not be allowed to get in contact with waste which is lying there, and it should be separately collected. So purpose of surface water drainage system is this, because 30 years you will be always facing monsoon, 30 monsoons minimum. So all the proper slopes, collection facilities, drainage facilities are to be there. So you can see here surface drainage systems which are given here. 475867. 475867. यादव यही रखो, आपके पास कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। हाँ अच्छा, लॉक होते रहेगा, ठीक है ठीक है। Surface drainage systems, then design of secured landfill, base stability, stope stability. Now, I will not get into details of this. Probably other lectures might have covered this for municipal solid waste, probably for hazardous waste also. And this everything is given in the CPCB manual. So I recommend all of you to read Central Pollution Control Board manual for this. And important construction requirements for to prevent failures is a maintain proper slope of excavated surface. This is very important. And then clay and surface soil cover should adequately be compacted, geomembrane properly. See, these are all basic instructions to have a secured landfill in place and stable. Then monitoring well also has been given, design has been given, so it should be 1 to 2 like this. You can say groundwater flow direction proper. There should be upstream direction, there should be 2 3, downstream there should be more, depending on the hydrogeology, and the diameter and everything has been recommended properly in the CPC. But monitoring well is an essential part of landfill. I would say that without landfill, without monitoring well, you cannot say it's a landfill is complete. And construction and operation of the landfill. So, okay, thank you. Okay. So basically you start with site development, then phase development, phase operation, phase closure, landfill closure, and then post closure visibility. See, land site has to be developed first for landfill, and then you have to start operating that. Operating means what? You have to collect the waste, proper type of waste, put it into the landfill, compact it properly, and you have to operate in such a way that all your moving equipment or moving machinery like JCB and everything is properly laid down. It doesn't disturb the liner system and it properly gets into the landfill and access all those. It needs a lot of planning. You cannot have random planning for that. And then after the active life means the volume of the landfill is full, then you have to close the landfill with proper procedure. So construction of fence, entrance gate, emergency exit, green belt, everything is required. Construction of main access road, construction of way bridge. All these I will not read this. Probably I after a little bit of editing I will share this. No problem. I share this PDF with organizers for the benefit of all participants. So divide the total into number of phases. See, there is total area. Suppose I have a complete area. So it is not advisable to put it everything like a trench. So basically there can be compartments. Most of the times there are compartments, they call it cell. So landfill 1, cell 1, landfill 1, cell 2, landfill 1, cell 3 like that. And still you can have different phases. So you have to feel the waste cell wise. So first cell is filled, then you go to second cell, third cell like that. Slowly you have to then complete the landfill because it's a huge area. Unless you visit, you will not realize that it appears like a big pond itself. It's a very huge area. And that area has to be clear of all shrubs and vegetables. Then proper excavation has to be done if it is underground landfill. Stockpiling of the excavated material and material imported from borrow area, leveling, compaction of the base. Because before making a landfill, their base should be very highly compacted and very even. Otherwise, it will have stress on the liner, and liner may have punctures like that. So construction of embankment, temporary, all these things, typical standard civil engineering details are there. Construction of temporary surface water drains, installation of liner. This is all in construction phase. You can see these kind of things. These are all basic designs, and these landfill sites, I will just tell you, we have constructed certain landfills, designed and vetted that. See, this is a preliminary stage, how a base is actually leveled down. You can see my colleague Dr. Patil standing here on this, and then a typical how liners are laid basically. You can see huge area here. After you will not have an entire line. So liners, pieces of liners are to be sealed. You can see the seal here. That seal is to be tested for whether it is a watertight, airtight seals or not. Testing procedures are there, and you can see collection. These pillars are basically for leachate collection. So something is to leachate is to be collected and pumped out. So right from the beginning, you need a planning like that. Then you can see the side slopes, how liner is taken on that. So these are probably from Goa, most probably, these photographs. You can see myself here. I was young that time. You can see this is me. So construction and operation of landfill. So preparation of daily waste filling plan, waste discharge and inspection, waste placement. These all details are there. You can work out. And then landfill is to be operated for landfilling. Is as simple as that. I will just take 1 or 2 minutes here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the cells. So you have to go step by step under restoration, in preparation. So one, then in operation, like one cell, one is closed, then you start restoring or capping it. Start operating second cell. Start preparing third cell. It's like that. So it should be a planned and in phased wise manner. Otherwise, what happens? You cannot wait. One is full, cell one is full, and immediately two is not prepared. So your preparation has to be in advance. Construction and operation of again continuing with that. Other things are not very important from design point of view, but management point of view, and monitoring the traffic and noise management as to odor management. Because there will be odors, you are dealing with hazardous waste, dust control, there will be a lot of traffic, so you have to spray water. You can see any good facility, there are dust water is sprayed for dust control, birds and pest control, mud control, landfill safety aspects, all those things, emergency plans, everything is there. It's like a full-fledged industry. And then a landfill is to be closed. So phased has to be closure is also to be phase wise. And placing, you have to close the landfill, you have to put soil cover, you have to put finally a HDP cover on that, and then again soil layer on that HDP cover, and then vegetation on the top of that. So these procedures are mentioned in CPCB manual. Is a standard procedure. When all the phases of SLF are completed, design active life is achieved. Now active life is something which you estimate to be around 20-15 years, but then there are instances where active life was quickly over because landfill was full. There was no more space because of some errors in volume calculation and some errors in other calculations. But anyway, that is not a very emergency thing. You can start planning. You start realizing that landfill is getting over once it is 50% filled. So all those planning and monitoring is required, and then post-closure vegetative stabilization is there. Now, what is the most important part is that inspection, monitoring, and record keeping. So this is what audit is for. There is a landfill in operation, and there is a landfill. Normally, a facility will have some landfill in operation, some landfill closed, and some landfill proposed. So during construction, you have to inspect it during operation, during closure, post-closure. So inspection of a facility, that is very important for all engineers, all environmental professionals. So basically you have to envisage. What you have to envisage is that how landfill is operated. So there is for auditing, there is a waste which is coming to landfill site. So you must have waste receiving system. And in CPCB guidelines and rules and regulations, manifest system, every waste is recorded on the manifest, and one copy goes to owner, one copy goes to landfill owner, one copy goes to operator, one copy goes to pollution control board. So there is a complete full-fledged manifest and foolproof management manifest system. So whatever waste or whatever truck of waste is coming, it is all labeled. It is, you know precisely what is coming to your landfill, and there is a record of that. So as an auditor, you have to first check whether these records are properly kept and received waste is properly received. And once waste is received, that has to be analyzed. If calorific value is more than 2500 kilocalories per kg, then it cannot be put into landfill. You cannot accept slurry kind of. If you are accepting slurry, you have to stabilize and you have to solidify that before putting it into landfill. So analysis of the waste, physico-chemical analysis of the waste, and then laboratory is must. Everybody should be aware, safety measures, storage of waste, all those facilities are there. So during operation also you have to, whether leachate management system is there, leachate treatment is there or not, landfill design has to be looked into. You can check the analysis of the leachate from second leachate well, whether there is any leakage or not. So audit is basically for the design of the landfill. Design of the landfill means you have to get all the documents. You must check all the documents right from the criteria of site selection, how the site was selected, whether the double liner system is there, the single liner system is there, whether monitoring wells are there, what is the design of monitoring wells, what is the leachate collection system, leachate treatment system, how waste is going to be put into that. All this planning, there will be a complete document, design document of the landfill, which must be available with a good engineering firm. If they don't have, that means there is some gadbad, you can say, or you can modify that. But normally good engineering practice is to be followed in design of landfill. And then operational manual also is there, how landfill is to be operated, how waste is to be taken, how waste is to be stabilized, solidified, and what is the expected life of the landfill, how it is to be filled. Everything is there in the manual. That manual has to be checked, and all the procedures are to be basically audited or checked vis-a-vis the regulation. You must have regulation pakka, you must have have it in mind by heart. Hazardous waste management regulation 2016, what it says, and whether that regulation is being followed. There are criteria, there are schedules, schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whether waste received are following those schedules or not. It's a big, you can say it's a big subject in itself, regulation, but then you have to be thorough with all those things. And then after auditing, the purpose of landfill audit, so a good auditor will know the basics of the design. Good auditor will be good in designing also. Good auditor will know basic operational procedures for the landfill. Good auditor will be thorough in regulations and guidelines given by CPCB and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And good auditor will know where to look for the records. And then he must prepare a report of audit, whether landfill is properly designed, whether landfill is properly operated. If not, what are the flaws and how they are to be rectified, whether they are going to have a long-term or short-term damage on the environment. And if at all any landfill is having damage or impact on the environment, how it is to be minimized or remediated. So once the audit of landfill is over, then if you think there is an impact on the environment, then you get into the different mode of environmental regulation, that is remediation of that land which is already impacted by the landfill. There are instances where landfill was breached, there were certain problems in the surrounding areas, groundwater is contaminated or soil is contaminated, agriculture land was disturbed. In that case, obviously a facility has to repay the damage cost, local cost, social cost, and then remediation of that surrounding areas has to be done by that particular facility. So design of landfill, operation of a landfill, and auditing of the landfill in itself are big issues, but I tried to cover the basic aspects of landfill design and auditing. I look at it from auditing point of view. Probably, I don't know, within the participants, I think most of you will need the auditing and design systems. At least you will have to examine the things. Few of them can get into the design, actual design of the landfill, and few of them can get into the operational systems. But most of them must be aware of the basic things, what is required for landfill design and how landfill is operated and how it is to be audited. What are the basic minimum requirements of a good landfill facility? So I tried to cover this in very short time. And now I am open for criticism or discussions or questions, whatever you can call it. So thanks for kind attention. And I am sorry, today 2-3 days there are certain administrative issues going on in office and I had to be there. So there was some disturbance in between. I am sorry for that. but I can't help it. But I saw to it that today I will not skip this presentation. I saw to it that I make this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rao
Thank
sir,
you,
over
sir.
to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Should I stop sharing?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Please. Now, if there are any questions, I will try to answer. I am sorry because I could not make PowerPoint. There were certain issues with our system today.
Man, no issue, no issues.
So I thought of putting PDF because of size limitations. Okay. So any questions? I am open to that.
Request participants to unmute yourself and interact directly with Dr. Vaidya.
So there
No
are
questions.
there are one or two questions in the chat
Okay.
box.
Okay, please. Can you read it, Rao sir, please?
Yeah. Sir, can you please share information regarding the performance of landfills constructed with respect to Indian context?
These are all with respect to Indian context. Whatever I described, this was all for Indian context. This is basically by Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, and Central Pollution Control Board, Government of India. So where is the question that it is not Indian context? It is in the Indian context.
Okay, sir. So the next question is, please share information regarding the monitoring system of the landfill after covering the landfill till its life period of design.
Can you share the complete design of landfill and all this? See, basically, you go to website of Central Pollution Control Board. There are 5 or 6 documents concerning landfill, including design, site selection criteria, operation, then how waste is to be disposed. Everything has been given. Probably they may not be available online, but they are available at very, very meager cost, maybe 50, 60 rupees or 80 rupees. Sometimes it is difficult to pay 80 rupees online. You feel something. So, but anyway, government has their norms, CPCB. So probably if you anyone of you is visiting Delhi, you can purchase it from Central Pollution Control Board. And I don't know whether they have online facility, but in there you can see it is available for even less than 100 rupees. But guidelines will have some cost, some minimum cost, and you can purchase it from CPCB. It is there. Everything is there. Whatever has been you are asking for me, and I have also selected my slides from that particular reference only, because when there is a guideline, I cannot say anything. It's only question of my expert interpretation. Otherwise, I have to take the basic material which is from guidelines and from rules and regulations.
Okay, sir. The next question is, if we detect damage in liner, so how it will be repaired?
How it will be repaired? Now it's $1 million question. As there are little ways to, because see, it's a dicey thing. You cannot open landfill. You have put in a lot of hazardous waste into that. There is a danger of some gases or some leachate coming out or some waste getting exposed again. And you are sure that liner has been broken somewhere. So very first thing is that you have to collect leachate as fast as possible and remove all the liquid from the landfill. That is the first remedial action. And that leachate has to be treated properly before it is discharged into the streams. Number one. Number two, there is a provision of putting garland drains around the landfill beyond the monitoring wells or leachate collection wells. So that drain will accumulate whatever liquid is seeping out of the landfill, that will be collected in that garland drain kind of thing. That has to be lifted and treated again. So this is a kind of containment. And ultimately, there are certain procedures, civil engineering procedure. I am also not expert, but then you can have underground concreting. Underground means a vertical wall, provided if you know the hydrogeology of the area. I have seen certain landfills where there is a barrier put in the direction of downstream side, a complete concrete barrier to the depth, but that may not be permissible in all places. But wherever possible, that final resort is possible. But digging out the landfill and getting all the waste out immediately in operating condition is very difficult. It is active waste. If landfill is very old, then after there are certain things which I have done myself under my supervision. I have shifted almost 30,000 tons of waste from one landfill to a secured landfill, because the old landfill was very old. There was no bridge, but then out of security reasons, and that was a long back history. It's a legacy waste, and it was properly covered and stored, and even those days they had some liner system, but it was not according to the modern system. So we tested everything properly, shifted it to the modern landfill. That is possible, but then we were sure about the waste quantity and quality that time. And but in case of a common landfill, where any type of waste is coming, it's very difficult to have these remedial measures immediately done. I hope I have tried to answer that question.
Yeah, fine, sir.
Sir.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. For regarding to the
you are not audible. Who is asking? I am sure is not audible.
So myself, Dr. Neeraj Sharma. Sir, is it audible, sir?
I am audible. Can you be a bit louder?
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is that is there, sir, any detection system for the greenhouse gas emission at landfill sites we can develop and evaluate this thing?
Greenhouse gas leachate. Sorry, there is a gas collection system given in all landfills. Otherwise, while in operation, landfill is open system. But after the closure of the landfill, gas vent systems are given, and you can always have a sampling access to that. But what kind of greenhouse gas you expect? You should not get any greenhouse gas around the landfill, or if your operation is correct, if it is properly stabilized, properly solidified, then you are not supposed to get carbon dioxide out of that. You are not supposed to get any other greenhouse gas, nitrous oxide, or methane for that purpose. If you are getting a methane, then there is some problem. Probably there can be a problem in that. But if waste is properly solidified, properly stabilized, then there is no. See, methane will emerge from the organic waste due to anaerobic conditions. But organic waste mostly will have calorific values more than 2500 kilocalories per kg. In that case, they are not supposed to be landfill. They are supposed to be incinerated. So it is very rarely, unless you have bad operating practice, you can have greenhouse gases from a landfill. But in closed landfill, gas vent systems are there, and it has access for sampling. You can have tracers, you can have sensors there. You can even check the quality of the gas if it is coming out of. I hope I have given the answer to that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I think you have missed yesterday's one of the excellent lecture delivered by Professor Krishna Reddy on gas generation and management. Because whole 1 hour he talked about means how to analyze the gas, how to capture the gas, and how to manage it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yesterday it was there.
Yeah. Okay, it's okay, no problem. So you can, I will share that recorded video so that you can also learn further things on that.
Any other question?
We have a few more questions in the chat box.
Please read out, no problem. I have signed some 15-20 minutes more with me, no problem.
Okay, so one question is from Shankar Ray. How to stabilize industrial landfill?
How to?
Stabilize
industrial landfill?
That was the question from Mr. Shankar.
I am sorry, this question itself is not rightly framed. I think you cannot, there is no question of stabilized industrial landfill. You have to put stabilized waste into the landfill. And then there is no question of stabilizing the landfill as such. What do you mean by stabilization of the landfill? That I am not very clear about. You have to put a stabilized waste into the landfill. That is the criteria. Stabilized and probably non-leaching and solidified waste into the landfill. You cannot put slurry, or you cannot put wet waste into the landfill. That is wrong practice. It has to be a solidified waste and stabilized waste. Stabilized means it will not react with the environment. It will not get into different oxidation states. just because of exposure to air, that kind of stability. There will be certain reactions going on within the matrix of the stabilized mass that may generate some leachate, which we are providing leachate collection wells for in landfill. But otherwise, landfill stabilized waste only has to, and mostly it is inorganic waste. So there is no question of landfill to be stabilized. It's waste to be stabilized. I hope I'm clear on this.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Any other question in the chat box? Can you please read it?
Yes, yes. The other question is, if we are keeping the landfill active for a year or a short such as 1 or 2 years, can we prefer a single composite liner?
One or 2 years, only 1 or 2 years landfill. That much waste. How much waste you will accommodate? So anyway, question of whether single composite liner or double composite liner is basically related not to the life of the landfill. It is related to the water table position, monsoon, and the soil conditions in and around the landfill proposed site. These are basically concerned. So even if you have very small volume of waste, but the surrounding area and the monsoon conditions, water table conditions dictate a double liner system, you have to go for double liner system, irrespective of the life or volume of the waste which is going to be filled. So that selection is based on the climatic condition and the soil and hydrogeology of the area, not on the type of waste or the quantity of the waste. Okay.
Okay. So any more questions from the participants?
I hope they are waiting for lunch because it's lunch time. Yeah. Okay. And
hello, sir. Hello, sir. Excuse me, sir. Actually, I was typing. I thought that I was typing a little long. Sir, good afternoon. I am Manas Chandan Mishra. I am a research scholar at IIT Bhubaneswar under the supervision of Dr. Rao. So I would like to request you to throw some light on the parameters of FZI, as we were hearing about FZI in just the previous talk today. So can you throw the parameter as a human development index, sir?
Human
development index, as Dr. Singh was, Professor Singh was pointing out how all our efforts are now being dovetailed towards improving the quality of life or for the society in general. So keeping that human development index in consideration, what are the parameters that are being
I'm sorry, I'm not
taking while designing and maintaining a landfill that could improve the human part of it?
I'm not expert in these parameters like social impact and then human development. Basically, I don't believe this. You have to operate everything technically correct way. Automatically, human development will be there. See, these are all. Don't take it in bad sense. These are my frank opinions with the experience. If you are not technically correct, if you want to save on certain accounts, then these parameters are evolved just to show that whatever operations you are doing are enough for human development. Ultimately, we are all worried about human development. No, these are my thoughts, and don't take it seriously. Therefore, basically, I am not expert in this area, socioeconomic. So my answer, I would deny, or rather, I will refrain from answering this question. Although I may have certain views which may not be acceptable to general audience or maybe general research purpose. So please take it that way.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Because this is something with it's as simple as that. If I give a parallel example. There is a patient. I know his blood pressure is okay, his heartbeat is okay, his blood sugar is okay, urine parameters are normal. Now, after that, if he's a lazy person, he doesn't work. Otherwise, his health is good. So I can say that he's perfectly okay from medical point of view. How he behaves and whether he gets into work or not, there are a lot of human psychology involved in all these things. So these indices or all these parameters are very relative and subjective to many a times. So therefore, I think it's difficult to correlate, but yes, a good statistician or a good, you can say, psychologist you still can have correlations with the environmental parameters, with the social parameters like human development and all that. Ultimately, everybody is bothered about improving the quality of life. That goes without saying, but quality of life only doesn't depend on landfill. So I can have a very good landfill in my area, but I don't have any, you can say, employment. So I may not be satisfied with the system. It is all relative. There are so many parameters. Please don't take my views, as I am very clear on this. These are my personal views, and may
It's
not
okay,
be
it's
accepted.
okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
No issue.
But look into the subjectivity of the that's what, as a senior, I can advise you, to all of you, that look into the subjectivity of your indices. They are not objective indices most of the time. So try to make them more objective if you want to do some research, so that it will reflect the real situation. That is what I wanted to say. This is a general statement, please. Their question some appears how to decide the HDP liner system. A 1.5 mm or 2 mm thickness is minimum prescribed in the guidelines. That is based on the quality of the HDPE and the strength of the HDPE and the maximum weight a landfill can have. That is based on average landfill have. That has been decided. So there is no practical choice. You cannot have lesser than that. So 2.2 mm and 1.5 mm on the top. You can go through the guidelines. You can have more. So to be on safer side, you can have 2.5, 2.2. I don't know, but that is the minimum. So there is no guideline, or there is no, you can say, it is the minimum which is described or specified. Okay.
So, any other question from the participants? So please unmute yourself and you can ask the expert. I think if there are no questions, then we can formally end the session. So I'm stopped.
Okay, then if there are no more questions, and I'm open to questions, my email ID is with organizers. My even number is also there. WhatsApp, same number is WhatsApp number. I'm